Hi everyone, and welcome back to ArtalalCarte. In this video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to create your own coloring book.
Pencil and some paper, and the best part is having lots of fun with ArtalalCarte.
Coloring books have always been popular with kids, but recently I've noticed that adults are really getting into coloring on coloring books. There are so many amazing adult coloring books. Usually what sets them apart from traditional children's coloring books is the massive amount of detail. A month ago when I was on my trip to Asia, I actually found one of these in one of the local little shops, and I was super excited because it was ridiculously inexpensive. I don't think the shop knew what this was because I bought this for 15 Chinese dollars, which roughly comes to be about $2.25 US, which this one here retails in the United States for around 20 bucks. So I was super excited to get it. A lot of the adult coloring books will have really hyper detailed like patterns and pictures and things, and they're really fun to color. I've been producing coloring books for quite a few years now, and I kind of find that my coloring books kind of merge halfway between the two. So this was my very first coloring book that I created. It was a mermaid series, and it had all these different mermaid poses and pictures on it. I would print them off on cardstock and then sell them at my local craft stores and fairs and things like that. But selling a hard copy like this was really limiting. I could only sell it to people that, came and saw me. That's when I discovered I could easily sell my coloring pages online. So there's a lot of different sites out there that you can sell your artwork. The one that I use is Etsy because they have a digital feature. So I can sell something digitally. People purchase that. As soon as they purchase that, they immediately get the access to the file so they can download it. So they don't have to wait for me to mail them something, and it's just really convenient for them. It's also really easy for me too. So I've created several different coloring pages, but they do take a really, really long time. And I'm always getting requests for new and updated versions and more selections. People have purchased all the ones that I already have. When am I going to get new ones? I realized I need to make a commitment to creating some new content as far as the coloring pages go. So I'm going to start to release a new coloring piece each month starting in 2016. So as I'm preparing for this new piece, I thought I would take you along for the journey and give you some tips on how to create your own coloring pages, whether or not you want to make them just for yourself, or maybe you want to start your own coloring book page business. The first step comes with getting the idea and finding inspiration. And that's a whole entire video on its own. Where do you find your inspiration? All that kind of stuff. And I actually have some videos on that. So if you look in my video archives, you'll probably find some different videos on finding inspiration and all that. But usually inspiration strikes me in the middle of the night and I wake up and I have to draw it. Sometimes it takes me a few minutes just to sketch out the idea, and sometimes I'm up for a few hours. I always refer to these moments as having an art attack. Now, I will tell you that about 75% of all the sketches I do never end up as anything. They are just sketches and they're, meh, I got the idea. I might revisit that idea later and change it a bit, but that initial idea never goes anywhere. But with the few 20 to 25% of those sketches actually then move on to the next step, which is actually creating a piece. There's two methods to do that, and I've done both of them. One is to ink it in by hand using some sort of really fine-tipped pen. If you do decide to ink in by hand, I would use maybe a Sakura Micron, one of the really fine-tipped points, or a Copic multi-liner, something that's going to give you a really crisp line that's not going to fade, because you really want to put a lot of time and effort. You're going to want to make sure that everything is really neat and tidy. You don't want to have any mistakes. That's the problem with inking in by hand. If you make a mistake with ink, you usually have to start all over again. And I can only get so fine of a line. So recently I've switched over to inking digitally. So I draw the sketch by hand. Once I have the sketch and the initial design laid out, then I transfer that over to my computer for the actual inking part. Now for this, I would highly recommend that you have an art tablet with your computer. I have a Wacom Cintiq, but for a long time I used the Wacom Bamboo, which worked out perfectly for me. You're also going to need some sort of art software. And again, for a long time I used Photoshop, and then just recently have switched over to a new software that I'm kind of playing around with. And that software is called Clip Studio Paint. And I purchased it just a little while ago, so I'm still getting used to it. Now, I did not record the actual inking in process digitally just because it ended up taking me several days, yes, days of inking this in. Especially if you want to create a piece that is really hyper detailed, you're going to find that you're going to have to spend a lot of time on this, making sure that your lines are really crisp. You want to produce a product that is really, really high quality, and that means you might need to invest a lot of time and effort to make sure it looks really good. So that's step 2, inking. After each of these steps is an evaluation process, whether or not you want to move on to the next step. So after the sketching step, I evaluate, is it something I'm excited about? Do I really want to invest a couple of hours, possibly a couple of days into inking this? And then it moves on to the next step. After the inking process, another evaluation comes and I decide, okay, do I like this? Am I still excited about this piece? Maybe I will let it rest for a little bit and come back to it. Am I still liking how it looks? And if it is, am I excited to color this piece? If I'm not excited to color this piece, then I don't want to have this something that I'm going to offer you guys. I want you to be as excited about coloring these as I am. So once that piece makes it past the second evaluation, then I do a test coloring. So step 3 is to actually print this out and color it. What I love about digital coloring pages is that it gives you a wide variety of what you want to do with them. There's a ton of different types of paper that you can print them out depending on what your printer can do. I have just a regular printer that, you know, I got at Staples, and it prints great, but it's not an expensive or professional printer, but it works great for me. And I can print these out on just regular printer paper, which is great if I just want to have a fun coloring session, but I don't really want to turn this into a finished piece that I want to hang on the wall or give to a friend, or if I'm just printing some color sheets off for some of the little kids in my life and I want them to color, I'll just print it out on just plain old computer paper. If I want to put some really time and effort into this piece, I will print it out on just regular cardstock. And I find cardstock works great with color pencils, markers. You can even do a little bit of watercoloring on cardstock and not have it mess the paper up too much. But with this piece, I really wanted to test out my Copic markers, and I had purchased some Copic Express blending card, and I thought, let's try seeing if it will print out on this, and it did. It worked perfectly, so I went ahead and printed this out on my Copic paper so I could practice working with Copics. And it worked wonderfully. My printer ink didn't bleed in with the Copic markers. It held really strong, and it worked out and turned into a really fun piece. Now, seriously, I thought I could color this in an evening, maybe 2 evenings. This piece took me over a week of evenings to color this. There's a lot of detail in this. I wanted to do a really super good job. And as I was working on it, I thought, hey, this is really pretty. I want to turn this into a print later on. So I went ahead and just put a lot of effort into my piece. And I will show you at the end of this video what the final piece looks like. I ended up not recording the entire coloring process just because it was literally probably 15 hours worth of coloring. A couple other tips, especially if you want to get into the business of this and selling this, is you want to put in some guidelines and copyrights. Because you're giving people a digital copy, you want to also protect yourself as an artist. So I always put a copyright listing with my coloring pages that first gives the people permission to print this off for personal use only. I totally allow people to print these off and give them off as gifts, but they just cannot resell them. I also give people permission to print this off, color it, and then post this to any kind of social media that they want, whether it's their DeviantArt account, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, as long as they link back credit to my Etsy shop. But I do make sure that in the copyright that they cannot sell this. So as a seller, you want to make sure that you put all that legal information in the description of wherever you're selling this at. Another thing you might want to do is put a watermark on the preview picture. Sometimes people will take and actually copy the picture off of the sales site from the screen. They'll just take a screenshot of it and then they've got a free picture to copy. So if you put a little watermark on there, that discourages people from pirating your stuff. And make sure that you get paid for the products that you work very hard in making. So those are my tips for you on creating a coloring page and possibly even selling them. But I want to tell you about a cool idea that I have. As you know, I'm going to be debuting a new coloring page every month for the year of 2016. And I thought it would be also fun to do a limited edition deluxe set that is only offered during the month of that premiere. After I premiere a digital coloring page, you'll be able to purchase that coloring page throughout the year. But I thought it'd be fun for just that month to be able to offer something extra special for those who are interested. So With the Limited Edition Deluxe set, you get one postcard print of the piece that I am coloring in this video. You'll get one 8.5 by 5.5 print of the original sketch, as well as a one 8.5 by 11 print on cardstock of the grayscale version of that piece. My digital download's only offered in a black line, so this way you'll get a printed copy of the grayscale. I do like the grayscale a little bit because you can really begin to blend things out. You won't have that harsh line. It kind of takes away from that, illustrated look, and you can kind of really get a really cool effect with it. So you can get the deluxe set starting on January 1st, 2016. Happy New Year! But I thought as an extra fun bonus, since I'm going to start this off, but I came up with a fun idea to have a contest for everyone who is buying the digital copy to be able to win the deluxe copy. So I'm actually going to release the digital copy now, just to give you guys all a head start. So everyone who purchases the digital copy of this piece between now and December 31st of this year, 2015, you purchase that and you color it. You send me a copy of your coloring to my email. I'll have my email listed below and also in the description on my Etsy shop. You can send me that, and on January 1st, I will announce the winner of the coloring contest, and they will receive a free limited edition deluxe set. So they'll get the prints and the coloring page in grayscale. I thought that'd be super duper fun, kind of a way to kick off this brand new kind of challenge that I've set for myself. All the information to the contest and of course links to my Etsy shop will be in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful as you maybe are creating your own coloring books or getting ready to sell them, or maybe just enjoy looking at people coloring and yammering throughout the video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know in the comment section below and hit that subscribe button if you're not yet a subscriber so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and until next time, God bless you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye!